So let's go through two examples of this. Example 1, we have the function 2x plus 1 if x is less than or equal to 2, and x squared plus 4 if x is greater than 2. So the first transformation says a vertical stretch by a factor of 5. A vertical stretch by a factor of 5 means I'm taking the original functions and I'm just multiplying all the pieces by 5. So if I call my new function g of x, I'm going to say 5 parentheses, the original first piece of the piecewise function, 2x plus 1, and that is if x is less than or equal to 2. And then 5 parentheses, x squared plus 4 for the second piece of the function, if x is greater than 2. Doing a little bit of simplifying, we would get a final answer of g of x equals 10x plus 5 if x is less than or equal to 2, and 5x squared plus 20 if x is greater than 2. Now, it is not a requirement to simplify and multiply that in. For a couple of reasons we don't require it is because really Mr. Brasser and I want to see, are you understanding this transformation and how it's affecting the function before the simplifying process? And the other reason is sometimes when you simplify, you make really small mistakes that unfortunately result in a wrong answer. So to minimize those really small mistakes and to make sure that we know you have a good understanding of what this transformation is doing, we are 100% okay in the regular Algebra 2 level if you just leave it like this and you don't have to do that simplifying piece. Looking at the next one, a horizontal translation of 4 units to the right. This is horizontal, so it's going to be affecting all of the original x's in our piecewise function. It's going 4 units to the right. Well, going to the right is a positive direction, but x's always lie. So really what's going to happen is we're going to replace all the x's with the binomial of x minus 4. So when I say all of the x's, I mean every single original x variable in this piecewise function is going to be replaced with this transformation, x minus 4. So I'm going to write me a new function equals, now it was 2 times x, now it's going to be 2 times the parentheses x minus 4, and then plus 1, if, and it was just x, now it's going to say x minus 4 is less than or equal to 2. Then we're going to say, instead of x squared, we'll say x minus 4 squared plus 4 if x minus 4 is greater than 2. So we've replaced every single x in the original problem with this x minus 4 expression. Now, I know I had just said you don't have to simplify the piecewise function if you don't want to, but there's one piece that you do have to simplify. Mr. Brasser and I require students to simplify the interval attached to the piecewise function. So you don't have to simplify the function itself, but the interval you do. So here our interval says x minus 4 is less than or equal to 2, right here. So if we kind of take that off to the side and simplify that a little, and we add 4 over, that's really saying x is less than or equal to 6, because you'd have to add the 4 over, right? So what we're going to do then is we're going to rewrite this with the simplified version of the inequality. Some of you might feel like you could jump to the simplified version of the inequality right away, and that is totally fine. But we would need to see x is less than or equal to 6 versus x minus 4 is less than or equal to 2 in the long run. Now the nice thing is that once you solve the first interval, the second one is solved as well because you're also going to be adding 4 over, so this one would just be x is greater than 6. All right, let's do one more, and then I'll have you guys try example 2 on your own. So the last one is a reflection over the y-axis. A reflection over the y-axis is a horizontal transformation. It's taking all of the normal x values and making them negative, or making them opposite of what they were. So I am going to replace all of the original x values with a negative x even in the interval, it is a negative x. That negative x is what's causing the reflection over the y-axis. You still have to simplify the intervals on the end, but be careful because when you go to simplify this one, we have negative x is less than or equal to 2. We'd have to divide both sides by negative 1. And now we need to think all the way back to likely our our Algebra 1 days, where when you multiply and divide both sides of an inequality by a negative number, something special happens. You have to flip the inequality sign around. So really, negative x is less than or equal to 2 means positive x is greater than or equal to negative 2. So don't forget that. When you multiply or divide both sides of an inequality by a negative number, you have to flip the inequality sign around in that process. So the way our final answer is going to look then for this, and we will have 2 negative x plus 1, and that will be if x is greater than or equal to negative 2. And then negative x squared plus 4 if x is less than negative 2. All right, so this is example 1. I want you to move on to example 2 and then watch through example 2 to check your work. All right, example 2. So don't be alarmed by the fractions. It really doesn't make it any more complicated, because we're really not doing a lot of simplifying. We're just applying these transformations. So the first one says a reflection across the x-axis. That is a vertical transformation. So I'm going to multiply the original functions themselves by a negative 1. This is a vertical transformation, so my inequalities on the end are not affected by this. So we get negative 1 times 1/2 x squared plus 2 if x is less than or equal to 3, and negative 1 times 1/2 x plus 3 if x is greater than 3. Looking at the next one, it's a vertical translation up 4 units. Well, again, this is vertical, so that means it's going to happen outside of any grouping symbol or outside of the original function. So I'm just going to say plus 4 in the end, because moving the graph up or down is a number added or subtracted on the end of the original function. Again, this is vertical, so it does not affect the interval in the end, so it's still x is less than or equal to 3. For the next one, I'll end up with 1/2 x plus 3, and then plus 4 on the end, and that is still if x is greater than 3. Now, for some of you, you're like, I really don't like how messy that looks. I would much rather simplify it and have 1/2 x squared plus 6 and 1/2 x plus 7, and that is 100% okay. All right. Last one, horizontal shift 3 units right. This is horizontal. We need to remember x is always lie. I know it says it's going 3 to the right, but that means our transformation in the function would say x minus 3. So the new function will be 1/2 parentheses x minus 3 squared plus 2. And that is if, now this was going to be x minus 3 is less than or equal to 3. But if we simplify that and add the 3 over, we would get x is less than or equal to 6 because we'd have to add the 3. So my simplified inequality would be x is less than or equal to 6. The second one would be 1/2. Oops, and my stylus is not wanting to write. So it would be 1/2 x minus 3. And then plus 3, and that is if, and this one will end up being x is greater than 6. All right, so this was the lesson 6.4 over transformations of piecewise functions. Please let myself or Mr. Brasser know if you have any questions, and have a wonderful day.